Hola chicos, soy señorita Schaefer otra vez y hoy vamos a hablar de la segunda cosa de la gramática de 3B, the verb ser. The verb ser is something that you've actually started to see already and that you will see a whole lot more of as you continue through Spanish. So we need to really make sure that we get this down today. La información está en página 158. So if you'd like to find this in your textbook, that's where you can do it. The big question for today is, how do we use the verb ser? So if you would please go ahead and write that at the top of your notes and make sure that you leave a little bit of room to answer that question when we finish our lesson. How do we use the verb ser? Now, ser is a lot like estar in that it is also irregular and it also means to be. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is, when do we use the verb ser? But first we're going to learn how to conjugate it. Ser is just about the most irregular verb in Spanish, much like to be is one of the more irregular verbs in English. You think we say I am, you are, he is, we are, and they are. And it's going to be kind of the same in Spanish. So we have yo, tú, él, ella, usted, just to remind us of our subject pronouns here. Nosotros, vosotros, only in Spain, remember. We'll put a little asterisk there. And ustedes, ellos, and ellas. And the forms of ser are really just something that we have to memorize because they're so weird. So we have yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, or usted es. Nosotros somos, vosotros sois, and ustedes, ellos, or ellas son. I posted a song on Moodle that can help you remember these. I think there are actually 2 or 3 there. So if you want to do that to help you remember these irregular forms, feel free. You will notice we've already used soy, right? Yo soy deportista. We used eres, como eres. And we used es already. Él es deportista también. So you should already recognize that side of your table. Now I'd like to talk about how we use ser. The main way that we're going to use it this chapter is to describe what a person or thing is like. And that's the big way that we're going to use it this chapter. But just like we had place with estar, do you remember how we did place to help us remember how to use it? That was for estar, and for ser, we have doctor. So these are the 6 main ways that we're going to use ser. You don't have to have these memorized today, but do go ahead and write them down on your notes. Seeing them and working with them a little bit today will make your life easier later in the year when we start to figure out when to use estar and when to use ser. So for ser, we use ser to talk about descriptions of people. Like, he is blonde, she is tall. We also use it to talk about origin, where someone's from. So we would say, I would say, yo soy de Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Yo soy de Clearwater. I'm from Clearwater. We use it to talk about characteristics. This is kind of like description, in that they both describe what a person or a thing is like, just like we talked about. But characteristics kind of refer to, like, he is kind or she is patient, where you're describing the character of a person. We also use ser to talk about time and date. So just like we learned in our Para Empezar chapter, we would say son las 8. It is 8 o'clock. That's a form of ser. We use it to talk about occupation, what you do. If you think about it, this is kind of describing what a person or a thing is like. I would say soy profesora. I'm a teacher. You might say soy estudiante. I am a student. And the last thing that we use it to talk about is relationship. So if you want to say, for example, él es mi amigo. He is my friend. or he is my brother, or that is my mom. Those are the kind of relationships that we're going to use ser to talk about. So please go ahead and write down what we put up here at the top to describe what a person or a thing is like. And then also go ahead and write down doctor and what that stands for, please. Before we go on to the last section of this to answer the question that we started with. So the question that we started with is, how do we use the verb ser? The first thing that I want you to mark down is that it means to be, and that it's irregular. Okay, let's also make sure that we have our conjugations of ser handy right here in our notes, hopefully at the top of your notes if you left room, so that if you look back, you'll know, okay, here is the main goal of this lesson, and here is what I learned. Then the last thing that I want you to write down is that we use it to describe what someone or thing is like. And if I were you, I would go ahead and write down doctor and what doctor stands for. Description, origin, characteristics, time and date, occupation, and relationship. Before you sign off today, please go ahead and write down any questions that you might have about the verb ser so that you can remember to ask them in class tomorrow. Gracias y adiós.